Good evening, heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practising Programming in C, where we're going to be doing some more stuff to do with Cinera's, I guess, database, really. It's database version 5. I don't think we're going to be doing an awful lot with the config, I don't think. I think we're kind of done with that, hopefully. Yesterday we had to do some stuff with the config, which was just to do with merging scopes, basically. The mistake that we'd made was that we were prioritizing stuff incorrectly. So when we were merging things in, we were prioritizing stuff that was previously set rather than the stuff that has been subsequently set, if that makes any sense. So we're kind of prioritizing the least recently set stuff over the most recently set stuff. But hopefully that's okay now, and we can do some other stuff. I think first of all I'd like to test the delete entry just to see if that's doing anything resembling correct. I guess we could have a little look at it, see what it's supposed to be doing. Delete from db. So it's going to have the neighborhood passed in. We've got the linked neighbors. Take a quick gander at this. So it's going to search this entry. This entry should get found. We know that that binary search for metadata entry does work because we can reinsert people. This accumulate DB entry insertion should also work, I believe, because this pointer is the same as this guy, so that these are going to be all correct. Get neighborhood for deletion might be broken, potentially. We've got the cycle time posted file and update neighborhoods happening there. I guess the this thing here, this setting this to 0, nothing it out. We haven't tried that, have we? So that could be incorrect. Let's take a gander at get neighborhood for deletion. That kind of looks all reasonable, I reckon. It's testing on the pointers, the end prev and the end next pointers. It's testing on those guys to see if they've been set. So I'm inclined to say that looks reasonable. The other thing that we don't know is whether this thing here is correct. So let's try it out. Just delete all this. Let's go into simulatory hero code, and let's just rsync code 525 to 526. Let's create that and 527. Right, and then what I think I'd like to do is to try and delete 526 first, because that is not the final one. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so that's busted. So it's on a wrap 0i read of size 1 in locate asset. Okay. So we will have gone through the. I guess what we could try first. I mean, you could see why that's happening actually. So it's 2855. The asset file name. So locate assets. What is this trying to do? That's probably not right, is it? Pointer is equal to the block. We're going to skip past the block. I think we need to do a similar thing to the first asset thing, don't we? Sorry, to the other guys, you know, the first projects and or whatever they are. You know, in the binary search, you know, when you do this kind of an idea, or this specifically. So the first asset is going to be there. So we've apparently located the block. It's kind of interesting, actually, isn't it? That I mean, maybe we don't call locate asset in the case where we are inserting the Cinera._topics thing. That's possibly what's going on. Because that probably just indexes straight into the assets array. Although, shouldn't we have to locate it in the database? Oh, right. So this is doing that. I guess. I see. So that kind of was actually all right. Yeah, maybe that was okay actually. Now I think about it. Because that was just already doing the increments past the block. We're setting the DB asset to be this, do this, and then we skip that asset. So yeah, I don't think this is the culprit necessarily. Although it didn't like this, did it? The wrap 0i is trying to do a reader size 1. Yeah, it was the wrap 0i that it didn't like. What is an asset exactly? So that file name should be sized, shouldn't it? Yeah. Heap buffer overflow. Shadow bytes on the buggy address. It's possible, isn't it, that the signposts aren't set up correctly, maybe. Hang on a minute, is this size as well actually? Yeah, it is. So we can't guarantee that that's actually, although I mean, we're not even getting there, are we? I don't think, because the wrap 0i. We're going to say the this shouldn't be passed directly. We need to wrap this up as well. I guess we could wrap them individually, separately before we pass them to the dude. And then it's going to be strings differ. I guess what I'd do is let's try doing that first of all. So we've at least separated out the two wrap. Well, there was only one wrap 0i initially, wasn't there? Which was the file name in DB. But I guess we just try it right now to see if we get the same error. Yeah, well, we get some error. So it's in the wrap 0i. And it was the same dude, I believe, probably. Yeah. So we've located the assets. Size of a block. DB assets block. Let's step in and just see what we're being presented with. I guess it could be interesting to do this, couldn't it? Although now that I think about it, okay, so there's a block apparently. Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah. Yes, that seems right to me. So what we've been presented with, well, we're looking at an asset index apparently here. Oh right, yeah, this could be garbage, couldn't it? What is the asset index? Can we see? So the asset index is 1. So apparently we're looking for Cinera underscore topics. So the next guy around. So that succeeds, doesn't it? Pointers skip assets. That looks okay. So that's going to return the asset. So we've got an asset. We don't have the neighborhood in this area. That's probably our problem, isn't it? So this is update asset in DB. I think the person who called update asset in DB. Well, hold on a second, what was that? Shouldn't that have gone into here? Because we did get an asset, didn't we? We just returned an asset. Maybe ask it. Yeah, we've got that. So where are we going? Why are we? What is the file? So there's the update neighborhood pointers happening, which we need to have happen. I was going to say, after the update asset happens, we need to make sure the update neighborhood pointers happens, which it is doing. Oh right, we need to delete the thing. Right. So here we go. So we've deleted code 526. It's possible that having deleted code 526, the neighborhood pointers haven't been set up. Although this seems to be happy that it's got that. That looks exactly the same, doesn't it? Although, what is that images directory? Look at that. That's garbage. So that needs to be fixed somehow. Where's this going to be? Probably initDB, isn't it? probably this. I mean, the weird thing is, DB assets block. I mean, the DB should have been initialized to nothing, shouldn't it? Because it's global. But, I mean, there's no harm in doing this, I guess. I mean, surely that'll come back to haunt us at some point. This bunch of garbage, I imagine. Well, let's continue. Having deleted the code. So that looks okay, doesn't it? The asset file name. File name is, yeah, it got that repeated 53 times. I wonder if it's possible that one of the later ones has some garbage after it, like this. So when we add things into the assets array, we're not correctly clearing them up. So here we go, right? Yeah, we do have an asset, okay. Now, what was that? If the asset hash does not equal that, do I still have the asset available to me? Is this just a sign problem? No. So if that does not equal that, then we need to go into this situation, apparently. Otherwise, well, where is the else? If asset. So we know that it's known. Okay, guess that's good to know. So, okay, so we've got the block passed in. We're looking at Cinera.css again. Oh, sorry. We're actually looking at... We're trying to look at Cinera topics. So that's fucked. So, why is that looking into there exactly? That's looking at a completely different buffer. Because spans shouldn't be appearing in the database file. Category null topic. I mean, that block looks okay, strangely enough. Apart from the images, obviously. I mean, could the images be the only thing that's busted in fact? Could that be the thing that's throwing everything off? I mean, what's kind of troubling is that this dereference of this pointer here is yielding this garbage. And like I say, we should be looking, the DB block asset should be looking into the DB metadata file. So it seems like, well, yeah, I don't know, like, it does seem like something's scrambled up. Maybe this DB block asset has somehow ended up in the wrong buffer. Could that be true? Unless the signpost is simply incorrect. The signpost could be pointing in to a bit of memory that was previously the signpost could be pointing into the block of memory that's containing the actual, well, containing something else actually. If I'm not mistaken though, this, when I step over this line, it should fail, shouldn't it? Because this should be what triggers the address sanitizer. Just in light of the fact that this looks so scrambled up. Yeah. So I guess we backtrace it. There's no stack. Oh shit, do I need to... try again? We'll also get an insight into here as to whether the clearing of the thing is correct, won't we? This code here. So where was that failure? Can we get there? Yeah, it was here, wasn't it? It was locate. That's it. Yeah, this is where we still want to be running. So we passed a block. And asset index 0, 1. I guess also we can look at the block. Right, so this ain't right. TV assets block. Unless the config images dir ain't right. Could that be the case? I suppose we could step into this line to see what's going on there. But let's just continue. What is the... Oops. Oh, that's as much as I can see. So updating the neighbour, I mean, we could step in, can't we? So project index is there, it's 44C at the end. And the signpost is saying it's at 44C. Previous saying it's at 25C. 25C. And this is at 39C. 39C and then 43C. And the assets block is at 39C, which the... Ah, hang on a minute. That is the same as this, isn't it? So that assets block pointer hasn't been set correctly, has it? I assume. Is that true? That would have just set everything to be exactly as they were. and then we're continuing on through the internal assets. There's the block. Again with the images directory screwed up. And I think this is where we finally is busted, weren't we? Well, maybe not. Although, what are we supposed to be looking at? We're looking for Cinera topics. So skip asset is taking the asset itself. So I mean this asset is looking correct, isn't it? I guess we could say so the DB metadata file buffer is here. Where is the asset? The asset is there. So let's just do this. So that is going to be at this location 6F, 1B642, 1B502. So this asset is well within the actual metadata file buffer. So this, well, it's not the actual thing, is it? So that, yeah, like I said, that's going to succeed. Now let's see what skip asset tries to do. So we've been passed an asset. The landmark count is 331. So it skips past the DB asset, which sounds fine. And the pointer is a car, right? So that does need to actually sort of say I mean, now that I think about it, why didn't it just say just skip past plus equal the size of the DB asset plus the size of this times the landmark count? Why doesn't it just say that? I suppose now I think about it, what were those locations? It was this, take away this. So what is that exactly? 320, so there's 320 bytes. That surely isn't enough, is it? Like, there's 331 landmarks, so this definitely isn't going to be, there's something definitely broken, isn't there? Like, where are all our assets? Here's one asset, the Cinera.css, but where's everyone else? It sort of seems like we're failing to write out all of the assets, basically, somewhere. Yeah, you know, like in the same way they're doing the skip project in this fashion, plus equal to times the size of the entry count, you know, all that kind of stuff. Skip asset can just do the same thing. It doesn't need to loop over the stuff. This assets block does need to loop over because the different assets have different numbers of landmarks. But I think we can see one of our culprits. It's essentially that we're not writing out all the assets. We're not writing out the entire file. I mean, it's still troubling that images directory. Let's look at that. I suppose technically, actually, we're not going to go through the init thing anymore, are we? I don't think. I mean, we kind of are, but. file. So we wanted it to run, didn't we? And then having run, then jump into this, and then delete the file. Sorry, yeah, this is right. Yeah, there is a location. So there's all our assets, they look fine. They have been written out on this run. I mean, like I said, I think this is all okay, actually. Yeah, that still looks okay. So this is going to try and locate that block. Now there you go, the images there is looking okay at this point. Right. So, whereabouts is the images dir in the assets block? So it's not lost. This isn't right, is it? Init in the assets after having oh no, hang on. I need to get away to get into push asset. Oh, well, I suppose actually this might catch it, maybe. Max size of 64. Why is that 64? Cinera.css. I think we just saw, didn't we? The relative asset location length was 32, wasn't it? Ah, the max asset file name length actually is 64. Okay. Okay, I think I can buy that. The CSS dir is a different thing from the thing. Where was that wrap 0? I called. Position is 0. That is already set to Cinera.css. So we're writing Cinera.css over this. That was to do with that. So as far as I could see, we didn't touch that metadata file. It's still sitting here in the DB. How's the assets plot looking, by the way? That's still looking alright. The image is still looking okay. Where are we up to here? Up to 5 of 8. So yeah, we're not going to find it, are we? When we get down to place asset, we're going to be out of the assets count, surely. Yeah, I think I can remember that the assets count was 8. So yeah, we've got all the way through here. I presume this is 25 characters. Oh right, there's children, I see. Got you. Okay. So that seemed reasonable to me. I suppose I can't really continue because I need a way to... I need to know where I'm stopping, don't I? Well, we've got sync DB with import here. But even after this, I think that the assets remain okay. Don't they? Yeah. Are we in monitored directory? No. Oh, this is delete DB entry, so we're not going to be even past it. We're not going to go into this situation. I don't think. Delete entry. Is this monitored directories? I think it is. Fortunately, we had the pointer in delete entry ready for us. Now these offsets are just for the other file, the .index file. They're not to do with the metadata file. Bytes into file. So the pointer is the current is end this basically. So what is end this? It is code 2526. Looks fine. So we're going to write up to there, bytes into file. So we're setting the file edit position to here, so that when we do the update neighborhood pointers, or rather so that when we do this, it'll be correct. Yeah, again, we still don't know if this is correct, do we? Bytes file. That's just telling us to skip past that, so that when we do this right, we've written out these number of bytes from here into here, and then we're setting the file position to be the cursor in this handle. So you can see we've got an edit going in at 52988, which is the bytes into file, before we incremented it. The size of that edit is 160 bytes. So basically what it's saying is 52988, everybody following this, now, yeah, everybody after 52988 should be incremented. Now, apparently that includes this person. Oh, sorry, this is this, yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's wrong. It should be a decrement. Accumulated file size should be minus this size. So that's on line 82222222, 8221. Yeah, we need to do a minus size of that. I wonder if that's the only problem. We still don't know if this, well, I mean, technically it probably is fine actually to null that out, I imagine. So let's jump back to 8221. All right. So now you can see minus 160. So basically what this means is everybody from this point onwards gets their pointers decremented backwards, which I think is going to mean the assets block will get its pointer decremented backwards. So where it used to be at 53308, it's now at 53148. Yeah, that's moved back. And I believe it is set apparently. Although we set this to be nothing. I suppose yeah, I guess it's insufficient. And this we'd have to also null out the signpost in the database, signposts basically, if we want that to take effect. So let's do that as well, actually. By the way, it's possible this is just working now, now that we've fixed up the stuff, but I'd like to just continue going through it, just to make sure. Yeah, I went through all that garbage. Yeah, so now this remains nulled out. Next probably was decremented backwards, which I think is probably perfectly fine, actually. It's probably exactly what you want to have happen. Like, that would just automatically set that guy back. That's beside the by. So having done that delete from DB, let's see what this says, because it's possible that this is now talking about the wrong stuff. The assets header should now correctly get written past, I reckon, because that should be located to the right place. Yeah, that assets block signpost. Right. That would have been located differently before. So yeah, it's probably actually here, wasn't it, that it was starting to fail. Now it looks right. Although this ain't right, is it? This ain't going to be a fucking asset. Or is it? Maybe it is, actually. Because it wrote past it, didn't it? So yeah, maybe that is kind of okay. Yeah. I can buy that. So all we're doing is deleting landmarks here. We're accumulating that file size by the number of those deletions, basically. process next landmarks should be decrementing them. So yeah, having decremented the landmark count, it can write out that thing. So this shouldn't have been changed, so like the n prev shouldn't have been affected. Actually, this might not be to do with anything. Because you're basically saying that the pre should now start to point. Actually, yeah, I suppose I should look at that a bit more carefully, actually. Basically, I think what should be happening there, only the pre landmarks. Yeah, I don't know. I should have looked at that a bit more carefully. All that has to happen here is the entry index gets decremented. So it's an edit type 3 apparently. Yeah. It comes past the landmarks, and then it continues. That looks all correct now. At least it looks like there's assets at the end of that file. 526 should have gone. Yeah, so you got 525 and straight to 527. Just done that. Alright, so that's it. It's working. Now what was the problem? I think the only problem, wasn't it? It was just when I was accumulating the removal of landmarks, I was using I just wasn't using the negative of the size. So now let's just remove, actually let's just take a look at the dudes. 525 should now be pointing to 527. Still pointing back to 524. And it's now pointing forwards to 527. 527 is now pointing back to 525, and it's the final one, isn't it? Yeah. Now if we remove 527, what happens? Does this die? 525 is continuing to point back to 524, and you ride with the current end of Amatera. Perfect. So that's all, folks. That is all. So yeah, we've got deletion working now. I suppose we could test the deletion from the start, couldn't we? Should we do that? No, let's do that. Usually I like to do this with a fully new thing. Just really doesn't really matter, I guess. So that's the first one. It's now linking to code 81. It's linking what it's linking to. Code 81 is pointing back to code 000 and on to 81. So we deleted code thingy. It's now continuing to point back to 82. Is it the first? It is. Alright, perfect. So yeah, everything seems to be working fine. I haven't tested doing the second entry, deleting the second entry, but I assume that's going to be right. It's going to be working out right. So yeah, let's just consider that done. It was broken, but only because all right. I think I'm going to delay this, by the way, this figuring out of this situation. And move on to something a bit more interesting. How long have we got left? We've got 57 minutes. Yeah, I'm just going to take a couple of minutes break and then go on to something a bit more interesting. So be right back. So what I'd like to move on to is getting multiple projects in the database. Let's get our music back on. And this is our current database here. You can see we've got the main Cinera thing, which has got like there's the 4cc, and then it's got like version number there, and probably somewhere else as well. And then we've got this projects block, and the projects block contains the code project. Now, what I'd like to do is, well, it's right here. You can see that the config contains multiple projects. It contains project hero, project code, project ray. These are children of hero. It also contains project risky, and within that it contains risky, risk, and book. And within book it contains coad and reader. So what I'd like to do is to actually, like I say, try and push all those dudes into the database, really. Push them on, reflecting the hierarchy that they're in, basically. So let's see how that's going to play out. Let's also just delete that. We don't need that to be running like that necessarily. I think we should do it here, honestly. Is there an init neighborhood actually? Where's the init neighborhood? That happens here. So it happens after initting the DB. So if config So first of all, can we not just initialize the database before having a current project? Oh, no, we kind of can't. That's unfortunate. Can we? Not project based. Now, yeah, we might want actually. this is going to become a bit of a problem, because this db metadata file actually needs to be something else. It shouldn't be linked to the projects per se. So let's do that. Let's give ourselves a different variable, which is like the database, the DB dir, basically, which is going to be a global thing. We're going to get rid of this current project thing here. All we want to have when we do the init DB, we just need to make sure that we have a config. That's all that we need, so that we can actually put the DB somewhere, right? So let's do that. Also, we're still not, I don't think we're using the word exp. Yeah, we're still not doing this, I don't think. So we need to do that. But what should we call this? Database directory? Database dir. DB dir. Sounds good enough to me. Let's also make it default to being at the let's default XG cache home, or XG config home actually, Cinera. Yeah. So yeah, here we go. This will be able to make it, won't it? So I think we'll be fine if we just change these dudes. We are going to have to do this somewhere, this initializing of the projects file. What was that doing? It was taking the current project poster. Why is that not already oh, it's making a string 0 out of it for some reason. Why is it making a string? Oh, it's making a string 0 because of this. Can I open it? Okay. Right. So I think that should be all right. So it's going to default to XG config, etc. Well, I mean, people are used to doing shorthand, because we've got like CSS path, JS path. It's not JavaScript path. It's not cascading style sheet path. So yeah, I guess dbdir would suffice. Similarly, assets root dir is like dir is already a shortened version of directory. So yeah, dbdir should suffice. This probably should be responsible for loading in a dude, shouldn't it? It's current project is here. I wonder if rather than, well, hang on a minute, what is current project exactly? This is pointing to the actual config, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's a project in here. In the config, it's not like, it's not in the database, in other words. Sort of seems like you want to do the opening of the DB metadata, oh sorry, the DB file. There, I reckon. I mean, it's slightly weird because it was in the initDB function. Init neighborhood. Yeah, it's possibly that, because again, this was kind of just to get us going, wasn't it? This init neighborhood. Yeah, so this is only touching the db metadata.file. I don't think it touches the db.file in this case. So having read file into buffer, you want to actually sort of say if file buffer location, or rather if that isn't, then what you want to do is you want to do this. Right. And having done that, I reckon we're probably now in exactly the same situation as we were before, I think. Unless I'm horribly mistaken. Everything should just work as it did. So should we just try that? It doesn't like this. DB file path. Oh right, does it need to try and create that path? Yeah, it probably does, doesn't it? Sadly. What do we do in this case? Alright, so that at least separates that out. Now that I think about it, actually, I think we want to say that rather than it being a database directory, I think we want to say it's the actual database file. I think that's what we want to do, actually, because I'm just thinking for my own purposes. I'm going to need to have different database files for Hammered Hero and Risky Business, because they're going to be run by different instances of Cinera. But I'd like them to be in the same directory. Like I'd be okay with it being in the same directory. I mean, yes, you could sort of change the directory, but I would be fine with it being in the same directory. But I'd just like to call them something like Cinera _ hero, Cinera _ risky.db, right? I'd like to do that. So I'm going to change the config so the whole, where is it? Rather than being database dir, it should be database path, right? And this is going to default to Cinera.db, right? But you can change that if you want. So the DB file is actually going to be it's just going to be that, the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle. Now, if I go into cinera.conf and I say I'm not 100% sure what this is going to do actually, because it's not going to find the metadata file, but it could find the HTML index file and all the files. So maybe this will just go belly up. Yeah. Well, the path should be set by that, shouldn't it? So it didn't like, what didn't it like? 443. It didn't like writing that, the metadata file handle. Ah, I see. I need to strip the component. Yeah, right. How do you do that? Strip component from path. Beware that this may leak, perhaps. I don't know. And it's returning a what exactly? I think we just actually do this, don't we? I think we're thinking it might leak because of this null pointer, null terminator, getting in the way of the free call succeeding. Ah, maybe that is true. Yeah. Unsupported DB version. How many people are using strip component from path? Not many. So, how about, rather than it doing this, let's make it operate on strings. Right, does that sound reasonable? Take a string and return a string. Consider making this take and operate on a string. So who called make dir? Quote cache dir. Quite a lot of people are calling this. Well, say a lot. But yeah, you can see that make dir is actually having the database location turned into a car star just for the privilege of doing that. So the trouble is though that make dir itself has to take and will terminate a string. So you kind of have to be pissing about with like making strings out of it. Let's just back out of this just for a minute. Well, where's he getting that from? Hey. Right, I mean, we're getting into this situation, so how is it getting there exactly? Because that database location should be set to Cinera_hero.db, which patently does not exist in here, does it? Cache, Cinera. Oh shit, wrong directory. I mean, this shouldn't be happening, but that's the wrong directory. Okay. So what's in Cinera cache? That thingamajig. Oh, it's a directory. So I guess it tried to open a directory as a file. That's my guess. Yeah, but now, anyway, you see that we now get Cinera_hero.db, which is exactly what I want, because we set it in here. Now if we change this to be risky, what happens exactly? So this is all okay. Does it just create a new index file? Yeah, it probably does, doesn't it? Because basically we're going to have the base dir here. Yeah, I suppose it just creates a new one. Yeah, so I guess insertion and reinserting is to do with the database file itself. These guys, the Cinera.db, Cinera_hero.db, Cinera_risky.db. that means, now that we've done that, we should be able to call initDB earlier. Right. Now, having initted the DB, what I suggest we want to do now is say, for all of the projects in the config, push them on. Just stick them on the config. Sorry, stick them on in the database. Right. So it's kind of like the init neighborhood, but so this is using current project. I think rather than using current project, we want to make it take the actual project, take a pointer to a project. Is that right? I think, yeah, locate projects. So that can all happen. And then I think, yeah, in these guys here, where it says current project, I think we could just make it say P. What's that actually called? Subprojects. This is back to Cinera working.c. Need to get rid of that at some point. Config.c. Okay, so it's just project. I mean, should we say the first project of the first project? Is it actually child? Yeah, project child. And also current project ain't going to be anything like this, is it? Now that I think about it. So let's just get a little thing going on here. And wherever I see current project, well, actually, it's where I receive this, isn't it? And why isn't that counting that? That's what I want. Oops. Now, having initiated the neighborhoods, that sets the neighborhood to be that. And I think, really, rather than doing current project at all, yeah, I guess current project goes set here, isn't it? Oh, right. I mean, I suppose since current project is set by this point, which isn't what I want to be happening, but it is doing. I mean, you just do that, don't you? What I'm kind of trying to get away from, though, is having a current project at all. Right, so you basically initialize your DB, then what you do is you basically sync DB with config. Do I have, I think we do have a sync DB. Well, we don't. Do we have any kind of a sync DB? We've got sync DB with input. Again, this is assuming there's only one project. I'll put it on the current project. When does that happen actually? That sync DB with input? Is that in deleted entries or something? Oh, it's hold on. It's just before monitor file system, I see. So it's within the if comfort project situation. Yeah, so I think basically I want to be changing this sync db with input thing to be essentially a function that does a little bit more stuff. It basically needs to make sure that all of the where is it in DB? I guess you could take the config. Right. I think the config is already a pointer, isn't it, actually? So basically, this needs to be a thing. I'm not going to do this now, I'm going to call it a day. But it basically needs to be doing this. Right, so that basically means that for all of the projects in the config, push them on, or at least make sure they exist, and make sure that they exist in the right places. That's complete bullshit. Basically update the project index. Project.index, let's call it that. Update the project.index in db-lamok if projects have been reorganized. We also need to. We also just need. I think it's just the stuff that sync db with input does. I mean, don't we also need to move? You know, we also need to change to handle the base dir having changed, don't we? Or the sorry. I mean, we probably all need to handle that, but we also do need to handle the player location. Like, where's that going on? So what's this function? This is delete dead DB entries. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it's actually this, isn't it? Which is awful. Now, delete DB entries is also responsible for handling handling new player locations. This stuff. Yeah. So I guess it's that and that. Oh, is that getting called? Oh, it's getting called by sync DB with input anyway. Blimey. So yeah, it's basically just sync DB with input actually. And then I guess after having done that, I think it's basically have to set the current project. I think that's roughly what we need to be doing. Yeah, I don't know, but we'll get there. We'll get there. A couple of hours. We got the deletion stuff sorted out, which is nice. What was that? Test delete entry. Yeah, so we figured that. It's broken because we can look at the landmarks. So yeah, the only thing we did actually was negate that landmarks accumulation. Oh, and we also added the DB location variable. Yeah, I might need to test some of that stuff a bit closer. And also, you remember when it failed? There were these well, we've lost them. But it's like memory leaks. They seem to be to do with the parser, didn't they? So we might want to try and investigate that a bit. basically we managed to well, I guess we managed to trigger to report when we exited from syncdb basically an unsupported so it was here, right? We got this unsupported DB version, please go to Cinera, hit this exit fatal, and then we saw the stuff. So I think actually if I just provoke that thing to happen, should do that, shouldn't I? It's not there, but it's in. Right, if I just say that this is going to be version 8, we should trigger the bug, shouldn't we? Yeah, cool. And this indirect leak. So there was a direct leak, wasn't there? Yeah. And this parse config tokenized push tokens fit. This all happens. It's all part of the parser. So yeah, it might be nice if we can fix this leak. Yeah, I mean it's direct and indirect, isn't it? So it's a realloc, fit, push tokens. I presume it's just not freeing the tokens. Is that right? But I don't know. We'll investigate this in the next time. We managed to get to report that when we exited from syncdb, how apparently, well, it's not syncdb actually, it's initdb. How apparently encountered an unsupported DB version. To trigger it, I mean, we can just to force this to happen. I just edit the 5th byte. Is it the 5th byte, or is it the which byte is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Edit the 9th byte. Right. I think that's right, isn't it? It's 32 bits. 32 bits. Actually, 32 bits are only 4 bytes, aren't they? So maybe these entire things are 1 byte. Is that right? Hang on a minute. 32 is 4 bytes. So I guess this is just the 5th byte, maybe. But whatever, it's the byte that's after the 4cc. Yeah. Anyway, like I say, we've done 2 hours, so let's call it a day. Well, done almost 3 hours. That's all for now. We will be continuing with this tomorrow. Thank you very much, Heroes and Heroines, for being here, for being fantastic and beautiful, and for being... What have we got here? For being immediate or available. Thanks for being available. Until next time, farewell for now.